my Yache organic cotton here and some needles for casting on the Freespirit scarf. You can use straight needles. I just prefer circular needles. It's just a personal thing. So we are knitting back and forth, so you can easily use straight needles. So I'm casting on 6 stitches using the long tail cast on method. So we measure a strand about probably 20-30 centimeters long. We don't need much because it's only 6 stitches. Grab your needle in your right hand and just hold the yarn over the top. Let's move the other way, like that. Right, you see how I've got my index finger and my thumb holding it out, and then this index finger anchors it in place. So this here is going to be our first stitch, and then just move your hand to the left. So this is what we call the slingshot method. So you see how it looks like a slingshot now. Hook that first stitch on your thumb and then go across to the index finger and hook that one around, and there we have cast on a stitch. So now we have 2. So same thing, just move your hand into the slingshot position, and so your excuse the noise, right hand needle goes under on the left of the thumb there and across to the index finger. 3 stitches, move your hand to the slingshot position, hook that yarn there and then across and make the stitch. 4, and again. You might need a few goes at this if you're new to it, just to get the hang of it, so don't worry about too much. You will master it, I am sure. And that is my 6th stitch. Okay, so we have cast on, and when we finish our cast on, our stitches are on the right hand side like that. And to begin the next row, we just turn our work over and we have our stitches ready to knit on the left. So my pattern says slip 1 purlwise with yarn in front, knit front back, knit to last 3 stitches, knit 2 together, knit 1. So we're going to follow that process. So to slip 1 purlwise with the yarn in the front, we have the right hand needle and the yarn ready. So the yarn is in the front of that needle, you see there, and the needle goes up through the front of the stitch as if we're going to purl it. So that's why it's called purlwise. And then we just simply slip that off, take our working yarn, wrap it round and under that needle, so it's now in the knit position at the back of our work. The reason we slip that first stitch is because it creates a nice edge on our finished scarf. So now we are into a knit front back. We're on the right side of our work, row 1. So the right hand needle goes into the front of the stitch and under the left needle as if we're going to knit it. So we wrap the working yarn around and over the top, pull that needle back, slide it back, and just catch the new stitch there. Now normally we would just slide that off and that would be our first knit stitch, but we're doing what is called a knit front back. So now we're taking that right needle and we're going to slip it into the back of that stitch as well, like so. And now wrap the working yarn around as if we're going to knit it, slide it back, hook that new stitch and slide off. So what we've done there is we've increased by 1 stitch. So we do that a second time. So we go into the front of the next stitch, our right hand needle goes under the left, wrap the working yarn around and over the top, slide the right needle back and hook the new stitch. Again, we're doing a knit front back. So we're taking that right hand tip into the back of that same stitch and knitting into the back of it. So we have increased 2 stitches. Okay, so now our pattern says knit to last 3 stitches. Well, because we've only cast on 6, we're already at the last 3 on row 1. So we are just going to proceed with the last 3 stitches being knit 2 together. So we're going to knit those 2 stitches together. It's a little bit of a wriggle to get your needle through. It will get better as we get a few more rows in. So we're wrapping the working yarn around the right hand needle, pulling that needle back and hooking the new stitch. We've knit those 2 together, slide it off, and that's done. And then we are knitting the last stitch. So just knit 1, working yarn wraps around, over, hook that new stitch. Okay, and we have knit that first row. See that loop that's sort of sitting there? That will actually get better as we get a few more rows on, so don't worry about things like that. That's from our cast on. So that last knit 2 together was a decrease of 1, so that in that whole row we have increased by 1 stitch, because we did 2 increases at the beginning and then 1 decrease at the end. So every right side row, that's what we're doing. So now we're going to flip our work over. We're now on a wrong side row. So for that, there's no increases or decreases. We just simply slip the first stitch purlwise with the yarn in front again. We're doing that every row. And then we are knitting to the end. So the working yarn goes around the right hand tip and we just knit every stitch. So the right hand tip goes into the front of the next stitch, working yarn wraps around, up and over the needle, slide it back, hook the new stitch and slide off. Into the next stitch, working yarn wraps around and over the right hand needle, slide it back, hook the new stitch and off. Into the next stitch, wrap the working yarn up and around over the top of the right hand needle, slide it back, hook the new stitch and slide off. So we're doing garter stitch. So we're doing that right to the end on our wrong side row. Okay, no increases or decreases on that row, nice and easy. So that is row 2. Now we are ready to do row 3. So we turn our work over, back with our stitches on the left hand side, slip the first stitch purlwise with the yarn in the front, creating that nice edge. Working yarn goes around under to the back of our work, ready to knit. We're on a right side row, increase row, so we are knit front back, knit into the front and into the back of that stitch, and we're doing that twice, knit into the front and into the back of that same stitch twice, knit to the last 3 stitches. So I've got 4 after I've done my 2 increases. So I am just going to knit 1, which now leaves 3 on my needles, and we knit those 2 together. And then just knit the last stitch. So that is row 3. Flip our work over. We're now on the wrong side. Slip our first stitch purlwise with the yarn in the front, wrap our working yarn around the bottom underneath that right needle, back into the knit position and knit to the end. So the whole pattern is just a repeat of those 2 rows, the increased row on the right side of our work and then the wrong side row, which has no increases or decreases in it. Nice and easy. Right, so over here I've got a finished scarf, and what I wanted to show you was the decreases and the increases that we do create this lovely edge on each side, and also the asymmetric shape of the scarf, so the overall shape. So you can see here I've done a few more rows and we are just starting out here, so obviously a long way to go, but you can just see the little tip of the scarf, how it's working out with the nice shaping. The other thing that we mentioned in the pattern is to mark the right side of your work. So I've done that with a pin, so that I know whenever I'm facing that pin or that side of my work, that's an increase row and a decrease. So I'm going to be doing 2 increases on that row and 1 decrease at the other end. So just to go over that one more time, and then I will show you on our little sample how to cast off. So we're slipping the first stitch purlwise with the yarn at the front of our needle. That creates a nice edge, and then we are going round under the right hand needle and we're doing a knit front back, and we're doing that twice, so that increases 2 stitches, and then we are knitting through to the last 3 stitches, and at that point we knit 2 together. So we knit 2 stitches together and we knit 1. Okay, so you can see that nice edge that's happening. So on this side I've got where I'm doing the decrease, it's creating the inner curve, and on the outer curve I've got where I'm doing the increases. So now we're turning our work over and we're doing the wrong side, a wrong side row. So slip the first stitch purlwise with the yarn in the front, and on the wrong side row we are just knitting to the end. Okay, so this brings me back to a right side row. So we will cast off on a right side row, and also when you need to change to a new ball of cotton, you will do that on a right side row as well. So let's turn over. So the first thing I will show you is how to change to a new ball of yarn. So I'll just snip that. We leave about, say, a 15 centimeter tail, which we weave in at the end. And so we pretend that we finished a ball of yarn and I'm ready to start a new ball of yarn. So the first stitch is always slipped. So just slip that one as per usual with the tail. The yarn goes around to the back of our work into the knit position. Grab your new yarn. Again, we leave about a 15 centimeter tail. Hold it underneath like so, behind your work, just holding it in place. That's all we're doing, and just start knitting with that one. So we're doing a knit front back because we're on an increase, and another knit front back, right, and then we're going to knit through to the last 3 stitches. And that does get a bit loose where we've changed, but you can just pull the tails there just to tighten it up, and do that again when you come back in a couple of rows. So we're knitting to the last 3, and knit 2 together, knit 1. So because these needles are a bit bigger, because we're creating this beautiful soft squishy scarf, it will feel quite loose and a little bit loopy, but as you get further into your scarf it will all sort of work out and feel really nice. So we're now on a wrong side, so slip that first row purlwise with the yarn in front and knit to the end. Right, and it's a little bit looser off, oops, very loose. So I'm on the last stitch there, so just pull that tail so that it tightens up. Knit that last stitch. It is a bit awkward until you pass those 2 or 3 rows where you've added a new ball of yarn. So turn over to the right side. Okay, so you can tighten those at any time. And now I'm going to show you how to cast off. So we're just pretending that we've finished our scarf. So we slip that first stitch as we normally do. So we're casting off on the right side of our work. Knit the next stitch and then hook the first stitch over the top of the second stitch and then just pull on your working yarn to tighten it up. You don't want it too tight though, just firm it up, don't pull it really tight. Knit the next stitch, pick up that stitch behind, pass it over the one in the front and just pull the working yarn gently. So we're casting off quite loosely so it doesn't pucker. Knit the next one, pass that over the front one, gently pull the working yarn. Okay, so we are doing that across every stitch of our row. Nearly there. And we're on the last one, so we knit that one, pass that back stitch over the front stitch. So we're left with one stitch on a needle, so just slip the needles out all together. Pick up some scissors. Again, we want about a 15cm tail. Snip that and pass that tail through the loop of that stitch and just gently pull on the yarn there just to tighten that up. And there you have it, nice little cast off. So on our actual real scarf here, this is our cast off edge, so you can see that cast off creates a lovely finish as well on our scarf. Okay, so I hope you enjoy knitting that beautiful organic cotton and the Freespirit scarf. Thanks for watching.